Hello there, I'm Jeanetta, and welcome to the July Patreon coloring page. This month we're going to look at peonies. Like the way I find most flowers, I think peonies have a very interesting shape. They start out as these very tight ball-like buds that grow. And right before they open, they begin to sort of unravel, almost the way a cabbage plant does. Their petals fold in over each other tightly, and even as they open, they still retain that rounded leaf structure, almost like each petal would be like a little bowl if you were to separate it from the flower. But first we're just starting off with laying out our composition. I've drawn some circles for the peonies. I've got some that are facing us, some that are facing more upwards, others that are still closed up, but they've all still got this very round ball-like shape, giving some of them an opening at the top, much like a bowl that we will form the petals around. The petals are very textured. They're almost like they've got a lot of veining into them, I guess is how you would describe it. So you can see a lot of lines and textures, and depending on the variety of the peony, the edges can get very ragged looking, almost as if they were made of torn paper. Here you're going to see I'm sketching in part of the curve of each petal. And not only from this angle that we're looking at do the petals curve like up and into the flower, but from the angle that we're looking at them, they're curving around. So we're actually seeing both sides of some of these petals, especially on the edges of the flower. I always say this in my videos, I really feel like anyone can learn to draw. It just takes practice. I firmly believe that if you can learn to write your name, if you can learn to make letters that let our eyes visually recognize them and put them all together to form words that we can read and understand, then you can learn to look at objects, recognize the shapes that make them, and then learn to recreate those onto paper. It will take practice. It's not something, unless you've got this wonderful hidden gift that you didn't know about, you're going to be able to do overnight. But if you practice at it every day, you are going to get better. It's just like anything. It's like, learning to play the piano. Actually, I would think it's probably easier than learning to play the piano. One thing that might help with your daily practice is knowing something to draw. And on the internet and social media, there are tons of drawing challenges. Right now, I am a part of a drawing challenge. It's called the Make With Me Challenge. So if you look up the hashtag Make With Me, you will see a lot of drawings that will go along with the daily challenges. we're going to start the pen and ink process here, and just outlining and darkening up, maybe correcting any mistakes that we made with the pencil. Before, also with the pencil, I was using, I was trying out a new pencil with sketching. It was actually a gray Prismacolor erase pencil, which is a colored pencil that you can erase, which are a little rare. It's a new thing. And I am outlining with my Micron pens. You always hear me talk about making the veining follow the shape of the leaf or the petal. And we know that the petal's coming from the center and it's spreading out like a fan. So we want to make sure that all of those veins follow that shape. It helps give our flat two-dimensional petal form. And later we'll come back in with shading, which will really give that three-dimensional effect. Here you can see I have, just by adding a second very organically shaped line, have created a fold in the leaf. I haven't done anything special. I've just drawn another line next to the outer edge, and when you make it a little darker around it, we're going to go back and put some shading underneath it in a little bit. You will see that it will give it that three-dimensional look that we talked about. See how with that shading, we're starting to make the leaves have some, the petals, I keep saying leaves, give the petals some depth. That way you can tell which one is laying on top of the other. They're falling underneath each other. It starts to give the flower some more shape and form. I've never actually grown peonies, but I've always admired them from afar. You'll see them, they're very popular these days in a lot of bridal bouquets and I guess some of the fancier high-end bouquets that you may decorate for a special party with. But maybe I'll plant them. This year I tried dahlias for the first time. Maybe I'll try peonies next year. Here I've really slowed down the video so you can see how slow I am actually and careful I am when it comes to making these lines. Lots of times when we speed up the videos, it looks like there's little to no effort when you're drawing, but in actuality, so that you're not sitting here watching a 60 to 90 minute video, I speeded up some of the monotonous areas. Just wanted to show you what real life was like. In this flower, especially, you can especially see that cabbage-like shape as the petals kind of cup around each other to form that tight ball. I'm going to do some shading around the bottom. Give it a little bit more form. More veining and texture. More ruffled edges. Flowers really are one of the easiest things you could start to learn to draw with, just because the shapes can be so freeform. We're going to really darken in the center here, just because the petals are still so tightly closed up on this one. It hasn't fully opened as that one we just finished, so you really can't see into the center of the flower. And after a lot of that, my hands do get tired, so it's always good to take a rest. Have some coffee. Maybe another sip. Finishing up on all of our shading. And really making those leaves petals, really making those petals stand out. Since this will be used as a coloring page, I'm going around all of the edges just to really darken them up. And I'm drawing my frame in. You guys know that means we're getting close to the end. I ended up printing the coloring page out on some Strathmore gray tone sketch paper. I really love working with this paper with my colored pencils. The colors show up so vibrantly on it, and you also get to use some of your paler colors, like white, some of the pale yellows and the pale pinks, and they show up so much more than what they would if you were just using regular white paper. It's a really cool effect, so if you get the chance, you should try it sometime. Well, we have finished the coloring page. I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting me, supporting my art. I hope you enjoyed this month's coloring page, and I would love to see your versions of it. If you happen to post it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, just be sure to tag me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for watching.